y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I am working in my memory planner for the week of March 21st through the 27th. I have a whole mess of pictures, and I'm going to work with some scrap paper today. We're looking at some Hip Kit Club scraps because I have a lot of bright colors in here, and I thought it would be fun for spring. So I will try to link things down below, including how I print my photos at home in case you're wondering. Otherwise, I'll put you guys on fast forward. Let's go. My jumping off point for this page is actually going to be using Mamby sticks. Those are just large stickers from the Happy Planner. You can buy the Alpha Mamby sticks at Joann Fabrics, or you can also pick some of these up on the Happy Planner website. I thought it would be fun to do a series of memory planning spreads where you just put a big word over in the left-hand sidebar, whether it was a lettered word or you use stickers, and you could just kind of pick a word that describes the week. And in this particular week, I'm just going to go with the word spring, and I'm just going to write out or use my stickers to spell out spring 22. Because this was the beginning of spring, it was just the start of all of the spring activities. My sons started baseball. There was a lot more outside time. It was just this week in particular felt like the start of spring. So I thought I'll just use these Mamby sticks. I love the bright colors, and that will be a good starting point for the rest of the page. I didn't have an apostrophe to do the 22 because I didn't want to write out 2022 because I didn't have enough room. So I just cut off a little bit of that 9, and then we'll add the 22 after that. I'm going to do the green first because it's the only green and I didn't want it to be on the end. There, spring 22 to kind of set the tone for the page. I'm going through a bunch of the scrap paper I have from the Hip Kit Club, and I find some gorgeous rainbow paper. I thought maybe I'll use this one. I decided to go with some rainbow paper that I know I'm going to cut apart and use all of the different rainbows. I'm about to pull it out right here. Like, that is going to be super cute. Those rainbows are going to be the theme for the page. But for the start, for matting all my photos, I'm going to go with a little bit more of a plain look or lack of pattern on the paper. So we're still going to go with bold colors, but this time we're just going to do more solid colors as the matting. So I'm going to cut apart the pictures. It was a busy week. You can see baseball started. That picture is actually a picture of my son as Jackie Robinson for his Great Americans presentation. And then it was wacky day at school. So I have pictures of all the kiddos being wacky. And then, of course, lots of weekend activities because that's how our lives are, with play dates and games and all the things. And then the other big thing that started happening this week was spring cleaning. It started happening in this house. And so I'm showing you a picture of my rainbow drawer of t-shirts as I started to organize all of my clothing. Whenever I am using scrap paper to mat my pictures, I do like to balance it. So when I use it on the right side of the spread, then I try to make sure that I also use it on the left side. You can see it's barely any of the scrapbook paper that is peeking through. You're just getting a hint of the color behind the pictures. It also helps me group pictures in a certain way. So all those wacky day pictures are all together and it's balanced out with some orange on the left side. And then I'm going to go with blue to mat the pictures of my boys and their activities for that particular week, including a play day and their first baseball practice, which they were so excited about. They love getting to play baseball. So those will be there, and then they'll balance over on the left side with the picture of one of my sons dressed as Jackie Robinson. I, of course, made him the little jersey with my cricket, which was super fun. All right, we have a little bit of the yellow right here behind my spring cleaning spread, and then a picture of my daughter who has had a broken toe and has not played soccer for a month. And she's had 3 soccer tournaments that she's had to miss out on. On Sunday, her team was short on players. The girls have been just passing around an illness, nothing serious at all. But so she actually did play on Sunday. She stood in goal. She still can't run around, but I was really proud of her because she was very, very nervous to play again, and she kind of conquered that fear and showed up for her team, which was great. In a couple more weeks, she will be cleared to play 100%, and that will be super, super awesome. She's very anxious to get out on the field, of course. As I am matting my pictures and adhering them down over on the left side, I'm trying to figure out what else I want to add. I thought, well, I could just keep this a really plain spread and just do the scrapbook paper. But on the right side, I decided I want kind of a rainbow feel. And we're going to go, it's not going to be a rainbow. It's going to end up being a circle. I'm going to use this cutting piece. This is like a circle cutting tool from, oh geez, it's not We Are Memory Keepers. I forget who designed it. I'm sure you guys will know who the designer is. I've had it forever from like a scrapbooking company. Creative Memories. That's it. It's Creative Memories. So I want to make kind of a rainbow feel. So I'm sketching out my rainbow right here. I'm going to erase the lines right here. It got off in the middle, that's for sure. So we will try that again to see if we can make it look a little better. And I'm going to color on the page. And I can't believe that this is something I haven't done yet. And it's definitely something I need to try a little bit more, sketching and coloring in the background of my memory planning spreads. I have no idea why I haven't done this. This one ends up a little bold. It's a lot. Of course, a lot of it ends up covered up by the pictures that I put down, but see how I have the circles kind of sketched? I'm just kind of going to erase any of this extra stuff. And then I'm going to come back with my calligraph markers. These are from Archer and Olive. They're actually my favorite lettering pens, but they're also just gorgeous, gorgeous markers. So I'm going to use those to color in. I sped this up a lot because I figured you all didn't need to see me color in. These are fantastic markers, and spoiler alert, they did not bleed through the Happy Planner paper, which is awesome. I didn't think that they would because I haven't had any trouble with like lettering in my lettering planner, but you never know when you're coloring like a solid bold area what it's going to do, and these did not bleed through at all, which I was super stoked about. I need to pull these out even more with my planner. I love the calligraph pens. They're my go-to pen right now for any sort of hand lettering. I hope that they come out with one in black. So I have I think almost all the colors that they have released so far, and they haven't yet released like a neutral set. They've all been very colorful, and I would love this pen in black. I would buy like 4 of them because I think that they are just that awesome. So I'm kind of making, it's kind of like a rainbow. It ends up being a circular rainbow, but it's a rainbow effect. And so I'm just going to color it in. I didn't include blue just because there wasn't blue in the Spring 22, which was kind of setting the tone for the page. I went with this kind of eggshell color instead. So that is fun, a nice, bright, bold background. And then I will go ahead and put pictures on top of that. It breaks up the circle. I probably could have done something similar over on the left-hand side, like in the upper left-hand corner to balance it, but I honestly, I just didn't think of it before I had put the pictures down. So that happens. I'm anxious to try this again and do a little bit more illustration and see what it looks like with more color in the background. You can see that it's a great way to bring color into your memory planning spread without having to use a bunch of paper or stickers. So it's definitely another option, especially if you have limited supplies and you're still wanting to do some memory planning. Like, pull out those markers, add some illustrations. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, next step, I'm going to cut out a bunch of these little rainbows and just use those as my ephemera or my decorations around the pictures. They'll kind of just go throughout the page. I'm just gonna fussy cut them out of this paper. I love this paper. I think it might be Amy Tangerine, but I'm not totally sure. It's from an old Hip Kit Club. I had cut off the branding strip, so I'm not sure where it's from. Again, I love using my scrap paper in these memory planning spreads. I highly, highly encourage you, just look at what you have, choose 1 or 2 pieces of paper per spread, and just see how it really comes to life. This one ended up being super cute. I love it. So I'm spreading the rainbows all around. We do have repeated rainbows, so I'm trying to make sure they're not right next to each other. Like I have 2 right there that are right next to each other, and I'm figuring that out. Oops, got to move those, switch everything around, making room for all of the different rainbows. And that's really going to be the main embellishment on the page. I will adhere all of those down with my Tombow permanent adhesive. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking that I want to add a little something extra, and I have a bunch of enamel shapes. So I have enamel dots and enamel shapes. I like on the original scrapbook paper how all of the rainbows were surrounded by stars, and so I decided to dig through my enamel shapes and grab a bunch of different stars. And most of these are from the Creative Retreat kits that I used to receive as part of their creative team. A lot of times there would be enamel shapes included in those kits. And so I grabbed those, and I'm going to use a lot of little stars around my page. They have a yellow and a pink and a blue color that go really nicely. And I'll kind of group those around all of the rainbows just to add a little bit of extra dimension and pop to the page. Not a lot. I mean, it's actually, I know it's a colorful spread, but it's actually relatively simple as far as my memory planning spreads go. But I like the little pops of the stars. I think they're fun. I like the rainbow, and I really like the word. I think that that is something that I want to do again. Maybe like a word of the week. I could do a whole series of those. I think that would be a lot of fun to include on these memory planning spreads. Once I finish up with the enamel stars, then I'm going to pull out my T ruler and add lines. I do write over the top of where I colored. I think that's one of the pluses of just using regular markers is that you can just write over the top of it. And for me, memory planning, the most important part is getting the words and the stories down on the page. So that's most important. So I take up all the journaling room I can. I will take it off camera to do the actual journaling. Otherwise, this memory planning spread will be done. As always, I will link everything that I can down below. I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you all so much for all of your support. You guys are the best. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And as always, keep it creative.